Welcome to Easy Biology. We have two types of respiration. One is aerobic and other is anaerobic. So, unlike aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration does not need oxygen. This takes place without oxygen. It is the release of relatively small amount of energy in cells by the breakdown of food substances in the absence of oxygen. So in this process, the food substances are still broken down, but as they are broken down in the absence of oxygen, so small amount of energy is released. Most organisms cannot respire without oxygen, but some organisms and tissues can continue to respire if oxygen runs out. These organisms and tissues use the process of anaerobic respiration because if oxygen is absent, then still this process can occur. Human muscle can respire anaerobically for short periods of time. Even though the process is relatively inefficient, it's better to continue respiring and be able to run away from danger. Initially you have a lot of oxygen and you are respiring aerobically. But eventually there will be a time when you cannot get that much oxygen, so your body has to switch to anaerobic respiration. So what happens to the body while running? Now just imagine a situation where a dog is running after you and you have to save your life. Muscles need energy to contract, and while exercising, the muscles need additional energy. The breathing rate and volume of each breath increases to bring more oxygen into the body and remove the carbon dioxide. Due to this, the heart rate increases to supply the muscles with extra oxygen and remove the carbon dioxide. If insufficient oxygen is available to the muscles, for instance, the exercise is vigorous and for prolonged means it's occurring for a long time, the heart and muscles are unable to supply sufficient oxygen because your heart can beat faster, but it can beat till a certain point. It cannot beat faster than that certain point. So, after this, as the heart cannot beat faster than that, so more oxygen cannot be supplied, so muscles begin to respire anaerobically. In aerobic respiration, carbon dioxide and water was produced. But in anaerobic respiration, lactic acid will be produced. And due to this, muscles continue to contract as they are getting energy, but as it is less in amount, so they contract less efficiently. Now, during long periods of vigorous activity, if you continue to run, lactic acid will build up in much greater amount. So glycogen reserves in the muscle become low, as more glucose is used for respiration and additional glucose is transported from the liver. So excess glucose is converted to glycogen and stored. But in case of extra vigorous exercises, this glycogen is converted to glucose for respiration. As a lot of lactic acid will be produced, this buildup of lactic acid produces oxygen debt. Debt means when you have to pay something to someone. And now you have to pay back oxygen to your body. Now as body stores of glycogen become low, the person suffers from muscle fatigue and cramps. And due to this, his legs keep on hurting for a few days. So this is the equation for anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, during hard exercise, glucose is directly converted to lactic acid. And this lactic acid increases in amount and that causes muscle pain, fatigue or cramps. This is the word equation. The chemical equation for this anaerobic respiration is C6H12O6, that is glucose, converted to lactic acid, that is C3H6O3. This is the chemical formula for lactic acid. And these are 2 molecules of lactic acid along with a little amount of energy. Remember both of these equations. So basically, in anaerobic respiration, glucose is not completely broken down, so much less energy is released than during aerobic respiration. And there is a buildup of lactic acid in the muscles, and this lactic acid needs to be oxidized, means it needs to react with oxygen, so it is converted to carbon dioxide and water. Until it is not reacting with oxygen, we call it an oxygen debt. Means oxygen is needed by the body. This is also known as excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. This is why when athletes stop running, they just lie down for a while so that they can fulfill the gap of oxygen. Excess post-exercise oxygen consumption is known as EPOC, and this needs to be repaid after exercise stops. So this is why we keep on breathing deeply for a few minutes after we have finished exercising. You can try this as well, just run for a while, and when you stop running, you'll see that you'll respire very quickly to return the oxygen depth. Please subscribe my channel. Thank you.